The reason I'm going to, and a Sosna as well, the reason we send the BMO first is we're going to have to utilize smoke. I don't have artillery smoke in this deck. And as you can see, the BMO has 2 smokes in the bottom right corner, not 1. So if it sees a missile coming and I need to smoke it, I can smoke it out. All my allies behind will also be able to utilize the smoke of the BMO, and the BMO has an additional smoke to use. Finally, it's actually well enough armored that it can take a hit. So I can decide, hey, I'm going to take this 1 hit, I'm going to smoke, and I'm going to smoke, and basically allow everyone to push across this bridge, which is an awful funnel of death quickly. So we're going to move the VDV Razvedka into the left, clear it, and use the recon. We're going to push the heavy stuff into Charlie and deal with their infantry, because I know they've got to have infantry on the fly. People sit on flags here. I'm a bit of a fan of not sitting on flags anymore. We'll probably talk about that later. So as you can see, just devastate the infantry at close range. Stand to, lads, and welcome back to Broken Arrow. Today I have a solo game using my Russian VDV Armored deck as I strive to better learn how to play and push with it. I will be doing something a little different with this video in that I will be providing a post-match commentary, so everything you hear from me is after the match, trying to explain my reasoning and decision making. Why did I pick this unit over that one? Why did I react to things in a certain way? What strategies, tactics and positions am I trying to utilize? This is in response to a number of you asking for videos like this. So with all that said, let's crack on. Alright lads, away we go, and as you can see right off the bat, I'm actually unsure which deck to pull, but I do end up deciding on that VDV Armored deck. Now, it's one I think I really like this one. It's the 3rd one I've made to play with Russia so far. I'm still learning this deck. It's been really, really useful though, both in terms of learning how to use it and how to fight against Russian armor. So I quite like it. It's pretty much equivalent to an airborne armored deck on the US side. To start with, we're going to pay a little bit of air tax, and I've decided I'm going to focus on that what looks like that right side of the map coming in from the top there of Kaliningrad. However, no plan survives enemy action, as they say, so we might end up moving a few times before settling on a position here. Looks like we've got some decently high level players, level 34 on the enemy side. We have a level 19 on ours, so just in terms of experience, but our elo looks, we're all in the 1600s, which is nice. And this is a solo run. I don't know any of the guys on any of these teams. This is my first commentary here that I've done. It's in response to a poll I put up on the YouTube channel and a couple of you guys asking me while streaming live on Twitch. So hope you guys find this interesting. I'll try and do more of these. I'll try and get a little bit better at them. Try less waffle, things like that. So to start with, we're looking at what we can bring out quickly here. So we've decided we're going to bring out some AA. Russian AA, very, very strong. As are Russian helicopters. So we're going to prioritize that with some recon here. So the idea behind all this recon is we want to open up the map, not just for us, but for our allies as well. What I often find on Kaliningrad map is it becomes an artillery fest. Everybody just holds the riverfront and bombs the hell out of each other with aircraft, with artillery. So I'm trying to convince myself here to really get some recon up, help with that in phase 1 and 2, and then really make a big push with my armored infantry. So we have the MiG up. Now often you'll find that I don't use the buttons in the bottom right corner too much. I tend to use keybinds. So if I use one here, I'll let you know. And what I did here was I actually instantly lowered my jet to low level to try and hide it a little bit better, but we are going to get lit up straight away in this air tax phase. And we've presented our ass to that enemy, and Julie got shot down as expected, but we do have a lot of AA batteries up already, so we're going to try and get that pilot out of here. So not a great start so far. So looking now at what I can back up my my recon with here, again, sort of studying the deck. As you can see, this is going to happen a lot during this round, is we're going to look at this deck and go, right, what can I bring out? We're going to bring out a Tor. They don't move particularly quickly. we are going to start thinking about setting up a resupply dump, not just for me, but for our allies. We're going to try and hide it here behind this building. I think that's far enough away from the river that I'll still be effective back there with anything else I pull out, like long-range artillery. But hopefully it's a little safer back there. We'll soon see. And I haven't really talked too much about the economy of the game while I stream this, so now that we're here, we'll definitely talk about economy. The way it works in this game should be pretty obvious to anyone that's played, but for those of you that haven't, the way it works is the more units you have out on the field, the less your economy income is. So in the top left, you can see plus 244. It's 244 income right now. The more I have on the field, the less that will become. So ideally, you sell units when you're not using them, and you have fewer things on the field, meaning you have a bigger buffer, a bigger income. These are things we'll see a little bit. I did spot that enemy pilot back there, as you saw, and it looks like one of my teammates is moving a vehicle to intercept and kill. You might as well kill that. It's giving free recon to the enemy. I'm going to unload our sniper here. Turn him on whole fire, as you can see straight away. I don't want him firing and giving away his position. Now this Cornet team, these things are, Russian Cornet teams are great. They don't do top attack, they just blunt force. But they fire, I think these are the guys that fire 2 missiles at once, which means they will overcome any APS systems on enemy vehicles. So very, very devastating. We're going to use this Typhoon to quickly try and cap a zone here. Meanwhile, our second sniper's in position, so we're going to load him out into a building as well. And the enemy's already starting with the bombers and the airstrikes and the cruise missiles. We're going to see a lot of cruise missiles in this one, I think it is, because we have, of course, Russian versus Russian. Practicing for the Civil War. Somebody about to try and bring in an airstrike here back on Charlie. A lot of enemy vehicles, and you can see my Cornet lighting up that BTR straight away and killing it. So these BMOs are very cheap, and I like them because they have a decent capacity in them. They can hold 8 people, I think. They are cheap. They're not the quickest in the world, but they're pretty well armored, and that's gonna be something you need to think about, right? A vehicle that can take a kick while delivering infantry, and that SU coming in and just wrecking things. Does get shot down, misses that final shot over on the left, but definitely made its money there, I think. You'll see on the right an allies AA just going down as well, and that long range enemy anti-air causing problems. I like to mark things for the team. It's about to shoot down my Orion, so I've just lost my recon as well to that. In the meantime, my Cornet is getting targeted here, so I'm gonna fall back with it. We can kind of see that bridge anyway due to our sniper's position here, so we're actually just gonna fall back, let the enemy, or let the allies take up a little bit of the slack here. I am considering sending this Typhoon into Alpha. If it dies, it dies. But if we can get the cap, it just puts a little bit of extra pressure on the enemy. Now, one thing that, and you see this in the intro to this video, they've done a fantastic job of recreating this map like it's real life. Real life map, I guess. Real life location. So they've done a fantastic job. I love that the BrokenArrow devs have done that. It just makes it more interesting to me. I can't wait to see more maps. I really hope there's a lot more maps coming down the pipeline in the future here. As you can see, I'm looking at how can I respond to things. There's a couple more things I want to bring up. I still feel like I'm light on anti-air. I'm definitely light on supplies at the front. I do have that big dump back there. We've evacuated out the resupply, but I'm going to bring up a Kamaz. And these things are great. My plan here is to use them like I use the lav resupplies in my Marines. My armored crayons deck, as I call it, my Marines armored deck, which is basically frontline resupply. It's dangerous. They don't carry a lot of resupply, but it's quick enough that I can nip in, resupply something, and leave again. So I'm sending the BMO home. I don't need it. It literally was a battle taxi. We're going to start thinking about how we can RE start putting some pressure on the enemies here as they move onto that Alpha Island. We're looking very, very lax on the left. There's not a lot over there. As you're gonna see, that's gonna hurt us here in a little bit. We're gonna keep moving this arty up. We're sending the Typhoons home. We do have the Ante slowly rolling forward here. That is on fast move, but just looks like it's going off road. And as you can see, Juliet is gonna be captured. And I'm a little worried about that sniper's position. But we do have mortars going in on the enemy cornet, which is nice. These fast-firing mortar trucks, I don't utilize it in this deck, but I'm a big fan of this. It seems to be something people use at higher level than me. And the reason is it can stun lock enemies. Stop them from moving, really put the pain on them. This enemy, you can see there, that pink color, his vehicle coming in and causing chaos. I have nothing to stop it, and neither does any of our allies right now. But there are reinforcements on the way, so it's really just a cat and mouse game. Trying to avoid it for now. There you go, you can see the tanks and the APCs coming. And we're going to start putting a hit on that enemy cornet. It has the ability to lock things down pretty well. I'm still learning a lot of the Russian vehicles and how best to use them. As you can see, that is going to kill our friendly anti-air, so I'm glad I brought mine up. We are going to get the kill on it though. So well done my ally there for moving that tank up as quick as he did. We're going to instantly reposition our artillery. Because on this map, you're going to get counter-batteried a lot. Now, I didn't reposition it very far there. I probably should have kept moving. I'm being a little cheeky here. Trying to help on the left. There's a lot of pressure there. But really, my priority of this map is going to be holding Delta, pushing across to Charlie. Holding Delta and Bravo, really, and pushing across to Charlie. So as you can see, again, we're getting counter-batteried. So I'm going to move my cornets back into cover, and I'm going to hold up the Kamaz in behind this building until that artillery battery stops firing. And there it is. So we're going to now go try and reinforce this cornet. Anti-air is firing. Now this is frustrating because as you can see, I do get the kill on that cruise missile. But I don't know if this is lag. I've seen this before. I believe this is probably lag because the explosion still knocks out both my artillery pieces. Now, had I moved them properly, this wouldn't have been a problem. So that's on me, lag or not. That is something to consider though when you're playing this game. You will occasionally get lag. And we've seen it where your Patriots get shot with cruise missiles all the time, even though they shoot them down visually. So I now have two cornets here. And my Ante is out of ammo. So, new problem. I probably should have moved the resupply to be closer to the Ante. So we're going to address this here in the near future. That's not a me learning the deck problem. That's just a me not being very smart problem. So cornets are rearmed, resupplied. We're going to lift this Kamov supply out of the way so it doesn't explode. We're going to go and heal up this Shorad squad, this anti-air. Meanwhile, we're going to rearm the Ante and give it orders to move back out once it's rearmed and turn its radar back on. I do love the ability to stack orders in this game. It's fantastic. Now, as you can see actually on the left as well, my sniper on the left is not on whole fire. These are suppressed snipers. I'm starting to laze things, not for me, but for my allies, because my artillery is not laser guided, even though it's also dead now. But basically, suppressed snipers have the ability to not be discovered. The way stealth works in this game, by the way, is probably worth a conversation on its own, an entire video, but how you got to understand it works is the enemy's vision score, and you divide it by your stealth number. So if my stealth number, let's say if the enemy has a vision score of 1200 meters and I have a stealth score of 3, which I think my snipers do, they will see me when they're about 400 meters away, right? So 1200 divided by 3. Now, forests and buildings double your stealth level. But forests are slightly better because not only do they double your stealth, but the further into the forest, the more broken your line of sight is, which is why forests are harder to clear than buildings. That is my basic understanding of stealth. As you can see here, I'm starting to build a little force. I brought out both B-15 Kurganitses. Is Kurganits I? Sure. I'm gonna bring out a Terminator as well, which is an infantry killer. I'm gonna bring out a T-90 Arena. So we're starting to stack up here. We were floating a lot of points. We've brought up a Tor already. This Tor is really going to be useful for helicopters more than air. You can see my Chrysanthema just up there firing its heat rockets into that building with Marines in it beside Echo. So we're starting to ping out targets. Now, if I'd had artillery here, I could have softened those buildings up a little bit more. And as you can see, I'm moving my Kamaz down south now to try and reposition some of the supplies beside my anti-air. So Marines are falling back. I can't quite laze that grad, which is what I want to do. I'd love that grad to no longer be a problem. So we're still quite light here. As you can see, we don't have much on the front line. We're focusing on our support. We have our anti-air up. We've lost our artillery, but we have a lot of recon. And our main push is coming. These are our B-15 Kurganets ABCs. We have a BMD-4 with some VDV Razvedka, which is a recon unit, which I think is very, very important when you push. Have that additional recon with you. Ideally, actually, for a big push. Oh, and there comes some cruise missiles from my allies. These are great. This is one of the beautiful things the Russians do very, very well right now. Is these? I think it's VDV get a lot of cruise missiles. Don't want to say spam, but so we have a BMO T coming, which we're going to use in a very particular way, as you'll see. I do like recon vehicles coming up because they give you your rest of your vehicles further line of sight. You can see just at the top right as well. Our allies do have some special forces behind the lines over there. The enemy are being tied up to look for them. This is just costing them brain power to try and find that enemy or find that friendly recon behind their lines, which is great for us, right? So I've got a lot of vehicles here. I've got some engineering squads, which are engineers. They have shields. They're the Alten boys, so you Tarkov players, and they have flashbangs. So exceptionally good at pushing into buildings. And as you can see, we do have some Guards Mozostrelki as well. Now, Guards Mozostrelki are a bit of an all-rounder. They're a little bit like a US NGWS squad from the airborne. They are decent close range. They have a lot of rockets, but they are really good at sort of medium range infantry and dealing with vehicles. So the plan here, as you can see, is to push into Charlie, and we're doing this in a very particular order. So we are sending units to clear the tree line, clear the large building between Charlie and Echo, and we're sending the BMO first. And the reason we're sending the BMO first is, hopefully I'll highlight the unit here for you to see in a second. We're going to move that Tor up to support. The reason I'm going to, and a Sosna as well, the reason we send the BMO first is we're going to have to utilize smoke. I don't have artillery smoke in this deck. And as you can see, the BMO has 2 smokes in the bottom right corner, not 1. So if it sees a missile coming and I need to smoke it, I can smoke it out. All my allies behind will also be able to utilize the smoke of the BMO, and the BMO has an additional smoke to use. Finally, it's actually well enough armored that it can take a hit. So I can decide, hey, I'm going to take this 1 hit, I'm going to smoke, and I'm going to smoke, and basically allow everyone to push across this bridge, which is an awful funnel of death quickly. So we're going to move the VDV Razvedka into the left, clear it, and use the recon. We're going to push the heavy stuff into Charlie and deal with their infantry, because I know they've got to have infantry on the fly. People sit on flags here. I'm a bit of a fan of not sitting on flags anymore. We'll probably talk about that later. So as you can see, just devastate the infantry at close range. We've pushed our engineers in. We're going to push the Terminator through this tree line to clear it with the T-90 and the second Kurganets up there. So we do take cruise missile spam from the helicopters, as you can see, but it's not super effective because we clear out of the buildings. And we're now moving that engineering squad up to the, I call them the Batman unit up there, that little bat symbol. Those guys, very, very dangerous squads. So we're going to push in there. As you can see, active protection taking hits on the Kurganets. And the BMO is going to clear out the enemy AT squad on the right. So we've effectively cleared off this flag already. But you can see Echo getting pushed really hard. Now, one of our allies is pushing across their bridge into Echo as well. So I'm going to try and assist with my T-90 and my Terminator. Our Tor is making money here. It is killing helicopters, shooting aircraft. We are going to need to push that Tor up more aggressively, though. I was getting, a lot was happening there. You can see Echo getting pushed fantastically well. Charlie was getting absolutely peppered by by artillery, so I've moved off the flag as quick as I can, but you can see that Mi-28 is hitting my infantry on the right here. So I'm going to try and get them into the BMO again and into some cover. And same with engineers. I don't want them taking free hits while I move up my anti-air, the Tor and the Sosna, basically. I'm glad I moved the Tor. As you can see, it's getting cluster bombed right now. Meanwhile, T-90 engaging enemy tanks. Terminator backing it up as well. Now, this is where things, I think, start to go a little wrong. I can already see now in hindsight what I should have been doing differently, which is further assistance pushing across that bridge. Because as you'll see, this push kind of peters out a little bit. Tor moving up, trying... I know they have helicopters back there. You can see where their artillery's firing from. So I'm going to start trying to push into their backline. Now, I think at this point we've kind of overextended a little bit. It's so early in phase 2. I don't think the timing on this is quite right. Meanwhile, T-90 cutting off Pink as he moves down that MSR. Glad I moved the T-90 when I did. That's a lot of cluster. We're very lucky here that the cluster's just slightly off target at all times. Moving the Tor forward as well for the helicopters. And the B-15 Kurganets up front, we're trying to hide it under the bridge so the helicopters can't get their missiles on target. I do see enemy supplies. Now, I was going to push towards the air, but you can see that cruise missile just killed all the enemy air back there. So we move towards the supplies instead and get intercepted by, I think it's a T-90. This is a very nasty fight we're about to have. Meanwhile, the Tor is getting pushed and eventually just off screen gets killed by some seed. And this Terminator here is in trouble. So we're going to smoke it off and hope that the enemy player goes for the kill on the Terminator, which he can't do. I do a double smoke. Allows my T-90 to get an extra shot in the rear and kill the enemy T-90. So that was a nice engagement. Again, at this point, I probably should be thinking about falling back or holding what I've got. The B-15 here, smoking it off and moving it. The reason I like to move it after I smoke is some of these missiles are fire and forget, particularly when playing US players. Fire and forget Hellfires. It's nice to move slightly because we've all smoked off and still been killed. So that's the reason. Meanwhile, I'm trying now to reinforce. I've been floating a lot of points. We're going to pull up the Terminator. I'm going to pull up more VDV, or BMDs, I should say, with some grenade launchers. But as you can see on the right, we've been stalling. Yellow is responding very, very well. We're actually going to lose that guards mode of Strelky. Now here, our T-90 is pushing forward, and we run into a nasty, nasty convoy of enemy Terminators, T-90s. You can see a Tor over there on the right. I do try and kill the Tor, prioritize killing it. So my thinking is I can pull in, as you can see, I can pull in an aircraft here to respond. I realize I'm going to lose my vehicles most likely. Now, of course, I've lost line of sight on those vehicles. So what I do is I decide I'm going to kill their backline arty instead with this low-level bomber. Meanwhile, we were getting absolutely cruised to hell on Charlie. We've lost our Sosna. We're going to try and do some work here with the engineering squad against Batman. It's our last dying breath. Meanwhile, Su-34, low level. We have a bombing run with cluster lined up. I'm very smug right now. I feel this is great. Until, of course, good player, enemy. He has moved his artillery after being spotted. So well done him. As you can see, the amount of helicopters the enemy are using, and I suspect a lot of those are, can't remember the name of the designation of it right now, are the cruise missile spam helicopters. As you can see, there comes some more cruise missiles. The problem with doing that, I'm actually going to lose my engineering squad right here. The problem with doing that, of course, is it means you have a lot less points floating on your front line. And some of the enemy now are starting to quit. What I've been doing here with this Kamaz is basically moving supplies into that second dump for my anti-air. And now we're going to start again. We're going to bring up a T-15 Barbarous. Very expensive unit. We're going to bring up some more Chrysantanas, some more BTRs full of infantry, and we're essentially going to position ourselves to do this push again. I think it worked very well. A few things I would definitely do differently, and what I plan to do differently this time is not overextend as much. So we're going to stage back here where I think it's relatively safe. They can't intercept me. We are actually going to get lucky here and shoot down, I think, shoot down one of these aircraft. We do, yeah, there we go. So those cruise missile aircraft are very hard to shoot down. This is a small map though, so it makes it a little easier. But normally what happens with those cruise missile aircraft is They get in, they drop their 3 cruise missiles, they get away scot-free. I'm gonna rearm this the Chrysanthema. I realize it's been firing, it's probably gonna get hit. I'm gonna rearm it here anyway. You see, I'm just going to keep picking up supplies and dropping it. I don't want to be trying to move the ante around. If you move the ante, you lose radar. Right now, we need that long-range radar. I could probably, in hindsight, move it a little closer to the front line where it has a better chance of intercepting these cruise missiles. So again, we're just building up some infantry in APCs. I really love this sort of mechanized infantry side of things from the Russians. I think they do this very well. And as you can tell, I'm still not fully familiar with my units here, so I'm looking at them. I built this deck myself, so I made conscious decisions with every unit. But when you're in the unit in the mix like this, it's a little hard to remember everything I find, so I like to check things out. Meanwhile, you can see double SUs coming in, lots of enemy air power right now, which is great for us because we can sort of manage this. We have a lot of anti-air up. And when he's spending all this money on air assets, it means he doesn't have as much on the ground. Now, as you can see, my recon isn't really spotting anything, which means he's essentially fallen back from Echo. Echo's empty right now, we're not defending it, and nobody's pushing in. Now, they have, of course, at this point lost 3 players, which goes some way to explaining that. And of course, one of the frustrating things about the game right now is the players drop and the punishment is so low. Game marking that RD. Our friendlies to push. You can see we have a massive flank going on the left here. I had no air to drop on it myself, so as you can tell, this game's kind of won already. I could wax lyrical as most players could about the problem with dropping right now from the game, but you can only play what you're up against. Bringing up another Tor because of course they are running a lot of aircraft and helicopters. And there's the double quit. And that's it. So it's a bit of a shame this one ended that way. We are just about positive on our KDR. But what I'm most happy about in this one and why I chose to make this the first commentary is how we pushed across that bridge. A few things I would do differently. But I like my logic of putting smokes, double smoke at the front that can take a hit in a cheap vehicle that can hold a lot of infantry. And actually some of the other Russian decks, you can load up double marines in a very cheap vehicle that can take a hell of a hit that has a lot of smoke, and that's very, very, very strong. As you can see here where we made most of our kills, some of these units, certainly like the arena there, the T90 didn't pay for itself really. It killed that enemy arena, but then obviously died a per death. The Terminator though making good money, the B-15 Kurganets as well. I've tweaked this deck a little bit since, and this deck is available in the description below for those of you that want to see it and play with it. It is the tweaked one. This is 03 VDV Armored. I've named it 03 Russian VDV Armored. Over on the losses tab, you can see a lot of my losses here. We're from aircraft, unsurprisingly. Katrans, that's the word I was looking for. The cruise missile helicopters getting a few kills in, enemy artillery getting a few kills in, enemy helicopters on that push killed us, Iskanders, more cruise missiles, Tu-22s, more cruise missiles. So playing against Russia right now, obviously one of the metas is a lot of cruise missiles. And that is something you have to think about. But yeah, that's my first commentary, guys. I hope it was useful. I hope you liked the logic behind some of my decision making. I'm going to do more of these. A couple other things, I'll rewind this back so we can sit on a page that's a little bit more useful maybe. A couple of things I think I'll do differently and have done differently already. This is a solo queue game, which makes it a little bit more difficult to liaise and work with your allies. You can't really call out for assistance or smokes and things like that. Every deck has a counter deck, right? Every deck has things that it's not so good in, and in this case I used my artillery quite poorly, lost the ability to smoke the flag, so I had to push it a little bit blind and think on the fly. But overall, pretty happy with this one. It is a win, even though the enemy quit. We are just about positive KD. Not that that matters too much. But yeah, they were a decent team. They had pretty high elo as well. It was a pretty fair match in that respect, I think. And yeah, pretty happy with it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If there's anything I should have done differently, what you guys like, what you didn't like, and things you'd like me to talk about. Do a little bit more of these. Thanks very much, guys. I hope you appreciate it. I appreciate you, I should say. And I'll see you for the next one.